Let us head on to the exercises and the MCQs part of the chapter. First question being, which of the following is the most labor absorbing sectors of the Indian economy? A. Primary sector. B. Tertiary sector. C. Secondary sector. D. Private sector. The answer is A. Primary sector, because primary sector correlates to agriculture and a majority of the people in India are employed in the agriculture sector. Which of the following is included in the primary sector? A. Manufacturing. B. Tourism. C. Forestry. D. Communication. The answer is C. Forestry. So forestry comes under primary sector, manufacturing comes under secondary sector, tourism and communication comes under the tertiary or the service sector. Which of the following is included in the tertiary sector? A. Mining. B. Trade. C. Health. D. Agriculture. The answer is C. Health. So health is a service and service is coming under the tertiary sector. Mining is a primary sector. Trade is a tertiary. Trade is a manufacturing sector and agriculture is a primary sector. Which of the following is included in the secondary sector? A. Poultry farming. B. Manufacturing. C. Transport. D. Quarrying. The answer is B. Manufacturing. So manufacturing comes under secondary sector, poultry farming and quarrying come under the primary sector, and transport comes under the tertiary sector. Investment in human capital can be made through A. Education, B. Training, C. Medical care, and D. All of the above. The answer is D. All of the above. Investment in human capital to become an ultimate human resource can be made by investing in education, investing in training, and investing in medical care. The literacy rate during the year 2010-11 was A. 64%, B. 74%, C. 70%, D. 80%. The answer is B. 74%. This is a very factual answer and you have to remember such numbers. Which of the following sectors face the problem of seasonal unemployment? A. Agriculture. B. Service sector. C. Trade. D. IT industry. The answer is clearly A. Agriculture in the rural areas. Service sector, trade and IT industry have nothing seasonal in them. It's just complete unemployment, and it's not sporadically unemployment. The workforce population includes people from 15 years to A. 60 years, B. 62 years, C. 65 years, D. 59 years. The answer is D. 59 years, because usually it's from 60 when the person retires. Which age group of children does the Sarva Siksha Abhiyan aim to promote education? A. 6 to 10 years, B. 5 to 3 years, C. 6 to 14 years, D. 7 to 12 years. This is also a very factual question and you have to remember these numbers no matter what. The answer is C. 6 to 14 years. The number of females per 1000 males refers to A. Sex ratio, B. Literacy rate, C. IMR, D. Birth rate. So the answer here is sex ratio. So sex ratio pertains to the number of females per 1000 males. Literacy rate is something pertaining to education, the kind of education levels that a child can read and write after the age of 7 is somewhat what literacy rate is defined as. You have IMR, that is infant mortality rate, the number of deaths that happen before the child turns 1 year. And then you have the birth rate, the number of births that happen for 1000 people. So that's exactly what sex ratio is the answer. Decrease in IMR of a country signifies A. Increase in life expectancy, B. Increase in GDP, C. Economic development of a country, and D. None of the above. The answer is decrease in IMR means increase in life expectancy. How is that possible? Which means when the IMR decreases, which means that the child is able to live more than 1 year for a longer time, right? So when it's for a longer time, it automatically means there's an increase in life expectancy of that child after 1 year. There is absolutely no correlation to GDP and the economy. So the answer is 1. A. Which one of the following is considered important to create a virtuous cycle by the parents? A. To send their children to school. B. To provide good food to their children. C. To join their children to private schools. And D. To take care of the health and education of their children. So the answer definitely has to be D, to take care of the health and education. This is creating a cycle, because once you give your children good health and good education, they will ultimately function and realize their true potential and bring about greater salaries and ultimate economic development for their family and the society. And they will also in the future bring up their children the same way. So this becomes an entire big cycle. What is the aim of Sarva Siksha Abhiyan? A. To provide elementary education to women. B. To provide elementary education to the rural poor. C. To provide elementary education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years. D. To provide elementary education to the urban poor. So the answer is C. to provide elementary education to all the children in the age group of 6 to 14 years, and there is no categorizations of just women or just the rural or urban poor. It is for all the children. Where is seasonal unemployment predominantly found? A. Urban areas. B. Suburban areas. C. Rural areas. D. None of the above. So this is finally seen in the rural areas. Seasonal unemployment is predominantly found in the C. Rural areas. The quality of population depends on A. Skill, B. Literacy rate, C. Health, D. All of the above. The answer is B. All of the above. The quality of population depends on skill, the literacy rate in terms of good education, and the health. Skill again in terms of employment. Infant mortality rate, that is IMR, refers to the death of a child under the age of A. 1 year, B. 6 months, C. 2 years, D. 3 years. The answer is A. 1 year. The scheme for the establishment of residential schools to impart education to talented children from rural areas is A. Kendriya Vidyalayas, B. Navodaya Vidyalayas, C. Sarvodaya Vidyalayas, D. None of the above. Please take a guess at this. A slight clue is this kind of Vidyalaya was mentioned in the class. The answer is B. Navodaya Vidyalayas. So in this, there is establishment of residential schools to impart education to talented children that are from the rural areas. Why is literacy rate so low in the females? A. Lack of equal educational opportunities. B. Lack of transport facilities. C. Lack of infrastructure. D. Lack of income. Please read the literacy rate. Please know what exactly is literacy rate. When only you know that, you will be able to answer this. The answer is A. Lack of equal education opportunities. Literacy pertains fully to education, and out of the 4 options, only A is an option that talks about education. Answer the following questions in 30 words. What do you understand about people as a resource? So this means the working population of the country in terms of their existing productive skills and abilities. How is human resource different from other resources like land and physical capital? Like I've told you, you can only use land and physical capital only when you have a very high quality human resource. Otherwise, you cannot use the other resources well. Only if you can think well, and only when you have the knowledge to know where the land and the physical capital and how you can combine these two, only when you know these things, you can get a very good output out of it. Otherwise, there is no point. So only when there is a good quality human resource available, you can put everything in place. And everything as in the land, the capital and the labor. Third question. What is the difference between economic activities and non-economic activities? Economic activities are those that add value to the national income, and they are further divided into 2 categories, that is market activities that are usually done for pay or profit, and non-market activities that are mainly for self-consumption. Non-economic activities are those that do not contribute to national income but are usually what comes under non-economic activities are the domestic household chores which are mainly performed by the women. Why are women employed in low paid work? So, education and skill are the two most important determinants of a person's earnings in the market. And because of historical and cultural reasons, women are generally denied the kind of education and skills that they can take in, and hence there is absolutely no contribution from the women to the national income because of gender discrimination again. In which field do you think India can build the maximum employment opportunity? This is a very personalized question, so you may have a different answer, but let us read out as to what exactly it is. So, we can tap on most job opportunities in the agriculture and related industries. Because we know that agriculture is the economy's most labor intensive industry and we have a population that is so highly dependent on agriculture, we have to make this more efficient. Can you suggest some measures in the education system in order to mitigate means in order to remove the problem of the educated unemployed? So let us see the kind of measures that we can take up to remove the issues of educated unemployed, which means even though you have education, you are still being unemployed because you can't find the right job opportunities. So let us see one of the reform. You can make secondary education more career oriented, and you should see education not only as reading books and writing exams, but you should also put in the necessary skills for you to gain a successful job in the future. And you should create a sort of screening process in which each individual selects subjects that are appropriate for his or her abilities. So there should be a person, an individual should understand himself or herself first as to know their capacity or potential regarding a particular field, and then only they should go ahead and take up a career of their choice so that it can sustain them for a longer time. The introduction of newer subjects and fields of study at the secondary level should be accompanied by an increase in job opportunities in the sectors that will employ students who choose to study such subjects.